The National Dex is never coming back. If you're still someone who's upset about not being able to transfer every Pokemon to the newest generation, and you're holding out for this feature to magically return from the dead like The Undertaker in Gen 9, you better quit holding your breath or else you'll be the next person to wake up in Hisui. The Pokemon website has this official statement here that, yep, you guessed it, you won't be able to transfer a Pokemon through Pokemon Home to Gen 9 unless it's obtainable in Scarlet and Violet. I feel like most people assume this was the case though, myself included. The last Pokemon game to allow you to transfer any Pokemon to it was Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. That game came out 5 years ago. That is a DS game. And funnily enough, this is also the last time that EXP share was optional, which is another huge fan requested feature. This is just now the norm we live in as Pokemon fans, unfortunately, and I don't think any amount of Twitter uprising will change that. For me personally, I don't really care about the National Dex anymore. At first, I was very put off by its removal because everything about it felt so shady. The news was kind of kept on the down low until people caught on, and then it blew up everywhere to the point Masada had a tweet about it. Pokemon Home was then released so they can charge people who cared enough to have a living Dex or wanted to transfer Blue the Piplup up from their original Diamond version they got used at GameStop. This on top of the fact that new Pokemon games are the most expensive they've ever been, you need to now pay for Nintendo Online to trade and battle with people over the internet, and we got the first ever run of paid DLC for a mainline Pokemon game, which added the missing post-game content to an otherwise empty and boring game, made it obvious that Pokemon and Nintendo wanted to farm every dollar from us Pokekids that they could. After Sword and Shield became old news though, I stopped giving a damn about the Nat Dex. If you have any sort of critical thinking abilities, you could foresee this day was coming. We're almost at a total of 1,000 dumbass creatures in these games, and there was just no way they were going to support all of them without some kind of drawbacks in their typical development schedule. Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee is a sort of contained and secluded Gen 1 remake, so it makes sense to not have all the new gen Pokemon. And BDSP has so many issues and problems that not being able to put Reboot into the game is the least of its worries. PLA has an amazing single player experience with little to no online interaction and a huge Pokedex, so not having every Pokemon doesn't hurt it. The icing on the cake is that it's getting free updates for the foreseeable future to extend its playtime even more. And that proves that the Nat Dex removal doesn't matter if the game is actually good. Sword and Shield has nothing going for it to make the removal of the Nat Dex more bearable. The story is lame, the gameplay is lame, the visuals have become an eternal meme, it's the most expensive Pokemon game ever, the post-game is sold separately, they made single battles unplayable by adding this dumbass timer.
Are you fucking kidding me, bro?
And on top of all of that, I can't put Punchy Rock in there? Now that is too far. My main point is it will always be a bit disappointing to not be able to have every Pokemon available, but if the games are just good, it becomes such a minor gripe that I can look right past it. It would be nice for them to go back and add in support for Pokemon not obtainable as an update in the future, especially since the amount of Pokemon that haven't been on the Switch is super short now, so pretty much all of them have their models and animations programmed. I'm hoping that Gen 9 has a fire lineup of Pokemon in its regional decks, and enough content and features that no Nat Dex won't even fucking matter. But, I know what we're actually gonna get is Sword and Shield 2.